Is up winning team. So I am currently out on the swings, just trying to gather my bearings of existence. And I just started editing the vlog of the last day I spent at the hospital. It's also about to rain. I don't know if you can tell that here. The clouds are grey. And I'm low-key hoping it's going to rain before I go inside, which I'm going to have to because my phone battery is low, but that's not why we're here. What I wanted to just take a moment to say, I've entirely forgotten what I wanted to say. Hold on a minute. Sorry, this is family. I'm in the park, obviously, and there's a very sweet family. Just came here they've got like a little mini quad bike and their dog, and they're just out in the nature, out in the freaking nature. So that's why, like, now I feel so much like going to sleep. It's so weird how much I struggle with sleeping, but then like when I be out in nature, I just feel like, oh, if I could just lay down on the grass and just be safe outside, I would just. But anyway, hold on, let me remember why I was even doing this. Okay, so it's because I was editing the video and I realized there's something I wanted to explain that I haven't really explained. And that is, it's actually so crazy how much I end up in situations. I don't know. I really feel like God is really like fighting for me, which thank God he is, because Lord knows I'm not. And I'm so grateful that he's fighting for me the way he does, because when I see like the things that he brings me through and the types of situations I find myself in, they just teach me something, you know what I mean? Like, it's like going to Italy all this time and having not been in the industry for so long and having learned so much and just seeing like the spiritual aspects, the like the invisible aspects of our existence as humans, and how, like, you know, when I was like, for example, we were going to Italy, I think I've mentioned this before. I was really irritated by the situation, because it was one of those, that's when I realized that it was Jezebel doing a lot of these things, because I was like, why does it feel like this man who is such a sweet person, who is doing so much for literally everybody, literally everyone, couldn't have the one thing he wanted to do for his birthday? And I just felt that wasn't fair, because he was turning 70. He was performing at probably the biggest, most prestigious venue, in Italy. And the team around him, like, seeing him and getting to see him and getting to like actually be there, like, I get to make my own judgment. And this is why I say I don't trust people's judgment of things, because people will say stuff like, oh, this is like, it's how quick people are to just go along with what the doctors say or what science says or what the pastor says, without doing any work yourself to like do any actual research, or like even with what people say like in the industry, you know what I mean? You're like far removed from it. And just like the invasive nature of the kingdom of darkness, because like one of the things, as you know, that really ticked me off the last time I was in Italy, and hence one of the reasons why I really just don't even care to go back, because I also know that the documentary that they were filming of all the biggest stars of Italy was coming out in the same month, in September. So I was just also dreading having the conversations with everybody, being so excited about that, when we had literally the most invasive ever experience of how we even ended up on it, because they just literally bust around the corner. You guys would have seen, because I videoed it. The vlogs are there. They literally just bust around the corner, while we were in the middle of rehearsing, with no consent prior to. So I'm saying about people and boundaries, and how in this world people are so happy to just cross certain boundaries in certain scenarios. I've been thinking about this because I've been doing a lot of like thinking about child stars as well, which I don't know why, but like since obviously spending so much time just having nothing to do in the hospital, and I've been like watching videos and looking at stuff that happened like with child stars even, and just how invasive, like even a lot of these interviews, like one of the ones I was looking at was how, Hilary Duff and Aaron something, I can't remember his surname, Carter, I get confused with so many names, how they were in a situation where when she was 13, a child, like I said this in a video recently, how I realized the reason why a lot of industries like to work with kids is because they like to be in a situation where they can take advantage of people. And that's also why I hate the idea of being in the hospital, and why it was genuinely my worst nightmare. And I lived through it, and it was as as bad. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see as time goes on. But I feel like it was as bad as I thought, because it's like you're in a vulnerable state. And so why in a vulnerable state? I don't want to be in a vulnerable state where I'm just here able to have all my boundaries crossed and decisions made on my behalf that I have no power over. That's what really freaks me out about the whole thing. So, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting cold. That's nice. So that's what I was thinking about. So anyway, I'm there, like, yeah, so that's what I was thinking about. So I was like, I've been looking into all these child stars and, like, you know, thinking about how sad their lives are. Like, even with this whole Britney Spears, Kevin Federline thing, it's like, now again, you know, it's like you can't get away. Like when you're like, I don't know, when you're like a certain kind of person, right? When I feel like you have the ability to like win, especially because jealousy factors into it massively. I know that, as in, like, obviously, like with Britney Spears, you know, she's got that whole situation with Kevin because now he's the father of her children, something that she was really passionate about, because she spoke about in her book about how, you know, once she had kids, she was way more focused. She was more interested in that than she was interested in her career. But then that's what I think is normal as a woman, right? As a person, right? It doesn't have to be a woman, but I can only speak from the female perspective. So the fact that people were so offended by that and everybody else was so much more concerned about, oh, we don't want to lose our source of income, which again, why would she cut off the people she cares about? Why were they so paranoid? And I've realized so much of this stuff is just projection of the worldliness. And then when you're the one who's actually not, this is what I was thinking, when you're the one who's just there in a vulnerable position, people just take advantage of that. People who have the wrong intentions. And then the reason why they're able to concoct such good stories is because they are pretty much revealing to you the way that they think. Like, this is something that my brother actually pointed out to me, that sometimes if somebody says something to you that sounds insane, like about you, and you're like, the hell, like, that's happened to me so many times where I'm like, you know, I've been called arrogant, I've been called a lot of names, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, have you heard my mental dialogue? What I have to, even a song that was sent to me by one of you guys by Jesse Nelson, in the very first line was like, how, you know, whatever I say about myself, whatever you say about me, I've said worse to myself about myself, kind of thing. So yeah, so a lot of things that have been said about me over the years, I'm like, what? But then I realized that people were projecting, because in their head, right, going back to the Britney Spears example, like, if they were in your position, this is what they would do. So like, if other people were in her position, they would just be having their kids for the sake of whatever. So like I was talking about this thorn thing, right? You have people nowadays having babies like on the social media just because it's like they lose their viewership, their views go down when they're in a pregnancy journey, and they do all the video of it, you know, telling our friends that we're pregnant, telling our parents we're pregnant, telling whatever we're pregnant, you know, pregnancy reveal, like gender reveal parties, and, you know, how I prepare for the hospital, what I'm doing in the hospital. I mean, we now even have women live streaming. We had that girl who live streamed giving birth, which I was just like, you know what, low key, I don't necessarily judge you if you're genuinely that kind of person who has like built your own group of people that you trust, kind of like how I have with you guys. But then also when you have those people who are like that, and like I said, people who again end up in the public eye, or simply just have something that other people want, because that was what was crazy for me about Britney, because Britney, you know, I feel like her and her sister's dynamic says a lot. And even the fact that specifically her parents had called her sister Jamie Lynn, which is a combination of their two names, because he's James and she's Lynn, Jamie Lynn, and then you had Britney. It's like they were so comfortable and ready to just sacrifice her for the sake of everybody else and then kind of do whatever. And then so was Jamie Lynn, I feel like, because she was kind of jealous, to be honest, because let's be real, like, this is why I always use Britney Spears as an example, because she had everything. She has everything, right? She's stunning girl, beautiful in face, beautiful in body, hugely talented, and just obnoxiously talented, right? And so, you know, obviously in the world we live in, and again, I've been chronically online for the last 3 days, I'm realizing how much, you know, people really hate those kinds of people. That's why people are really ready to see the downfall of a Britney Spears, to see the downfall or whatever, to get involved and to have their opinion, because it's like, that's the way you're happy to see that the person you feel like has the things you want or isn't using the things that you would have, you're happy to see them come crashing down. And so when they do have anything you can find on them, it's like what they did with Jesus and the Pharisees, right? Because the Pharisees were after Jesus. Jesus has just come, and he's just a loving man. He's out here to bring the message of the good news that, look, I'm coming to do what none of you guys could do, and which, again, I look at that as like, thank God. The Pharisees probably took that as if like, who are you to come and threaten our position, and like, this is what I'm saying. And so then what do? They go to Jesus. This is why I do believe Jesus has to be God. And this is why I do believe that Jesus was perfect, because like the Pharisees, the way that people go after like critiquing the celebrities and have done throughout the years, and the things that people felt comfortable to say, is the same way the Pharisees were with Jesus, like every corner trying to catch him out. Because like, as soon as we can catch out just one thing, like, because this is how I've always felt. This is part of the reason I've always struggled with this like perfectionism thing, because I've always felt like the people that are waiting to have something against me are just waiting for that moment where they can take over. You know what I'm saying? We saw the same thing with Amanda Bynes. It's actually quite sad, you know, how even a lot of these stars, you know, were literally sleeping with these executives, even Jamie Lynn, where you have the others who come out and talk about how traumatizing that the industry was, right? Again, Drake and Josh is another great example. A lot of people have issues with Drake because Drake, you know, was found to be talking to a younger girl and all of this, and he pled guilty, which again, I respect that so much more highly than I do these others who are like, well, there's not even any evidence, and some people just like to have stories, and some people like to be conspiracies. Why did him and Josh have such a different experience? From what I've understood, from what I've seen from both of them, this is why I love the days of podcasting, where you get to hear people say where you get to hear things from the horse's mouth. What I've heard from both of them is like, Josh is now kind of in an era of, he finally is living the life that he wished he had, because Drake was always pushed. Again, this is why I think so many of these child shows, I honestly wish I never kind of got to know a lot of these things, because it's kind of ruined it. It's kind of ruined my childhood in a lot of ways. But like, Drake who got to be, you know, the so-called good-looking one, the so-called this, and Josh was like the fat funny friend. And so now it's like Josh now getting to live the life where he's lost all the weight. He's on David Dobrik videos, which again, red flag for me, because I know how anybody ever trusted that man, because I always thought he was sadistic in the same way that I think Mr. Beast is, where like they love to have the opportunity to kind of have people that rely on them. And this is what I'm saying, like, that's different between, say, a Britney and like a David Dobrik. Like a Britney is like, hey, because she even talked about how when she would talk about all the things she wanted to do for the people around her, they kind of looked at her off, because they were like, why do you kind of get to be the one that's successful? On the David Dobrik side and like the Mr. Beast side, they're like, this is my opportunity to kind of just mess with people. These are my opinions, right? And so you have like a Jamie Lynn who's pregnant, and again, she got pregnant at 16, and it's ironic because she was the one, I think, who was more dedicated to the fame and more desperate, because we've seen it. She's tried so hard to get Zoe 101 redone. She's tried so hard to push all herself in all these shows, and it just hasn't really worked out. She's never spoke up about how hard the industry is. So many of them that don't ever end up speaking up about the industry and what they went through, it's because they're happy that they got whatever out of it that they wanted to get out of it. I feel like Ariana Grande is one of them. And shock freaking horror, just like I predicted, just before before Wicked 2 comes out, part 2 comes out, where I believe she's going to end up with Cynthia Erivo. All of a sudden now, her and Ethan Slater are no longer together. So it's just like, it's just so many different things that I'm seeing and I'm experiencing, and I'm just like, this is actually the world we live in, where like trying to do the good or godly thing, trying to even just be okay with yourself winning and wishing the best for everyone and wanting to look everyone actually backfires. And then it's always because of, like, I was saying this to somebody that I know, that the reason why as a winner we will always have enemies is because losers will always look at you as their enemy, because that's how the way losers think, right? But the winners, we're all busy just focusing on what we're doing, right? And hoping for everybody to win. So it's like in life, and I feel like this was the sad thing anyways that I realized, in life you will always, as a winner, have enemies, because there's always going to be those people who are just offended simply because of your success, and therefore they're always going to come after you. And so, that's just, it's just sad, and that's just the world we live in. And that's why, when you have the degenerates of the world, the people band behind them, because say like with the Drake and Josh, right, you can relate to not feeling secure about yourself, not being the chosen one, or the handsome one, or whatever, right? It's like I say about Chris Brown and Mike Tyson. If Chris Brown was ugly and whatever, I don't even know if people would still be talking about him and this wife beater stuff. But it comes to Mike Tyson all of a sudden, and I don't even think necessarily the guy's ugly, and it's, oh, yeah, he had struggles, but Chris Brown at 18, 19, he didn't have struggles either. He was just he's just a woman beater. Like, that's how the world is. The world, that's what I'm saying, the world, I'm not the one who's delusional about the world. That's what I'm realizing in all this stuff that I'm doing. But anyways, I gotta go because this thing's gonna die, which is really unfortunate because I had more to say, but maybe that's good because I've been making such long videos. So anyways, guys, I love you dearly. If life's a game, let's play to win. But just know, like I said, I talk all the time about the costs of winning and why winning is not for everybody, because what you have to endure, what these child stars endured, what a lot of people are enduring for the sake of the success you see. And the thing is that people become so sick. This is something I suffer from. People see your successes and then get to the conclusion that there can be nothing bad that's happened to you. Again, Paris Hilton, another example. There can be nothing bad that's happened to you because you have something I want, money or power or fame or talent or something, right? And so that's actually the world we live in, where those other people around you, if they can, will steal from you, will become your enemy, will hate on you, will look for anything they can get against you, right, to tear you down because they can't live with themselves. And that's what's sad about losers. I realize losers, they don't have that intrinsic peace within themselves, which I find from God. They're so insecure and there's so many problems, right, that they have to sit over there feeling jealous as if God didn't create us all with a purpose and with a reason. Anyways, guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.